What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster out here on the Sunday, first month of the new year, January 1st, 2023. It is about 8:32 p.m. here along the West Coast. I'm out here with Missy Mimi's.
How's it going, guys?
I was going to say my beautiful co-host, but
Aww.
I always got to fit that in there.
That is true.
But how's it going, Missy Mimi's?
Oh, going great.
Enjoying the new year?
Oh, yes.
Alrighty. That is the main thing. The latest earthquake coming in here to the Earthquake 3D globe, a 3.8 earthquake into the region of Bhutan. Is that right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. I've never actually had to pronounce that word, so we'll probably get corrected on it. There's only a couple different ways I'm sure you can pronounce that.
Or Bhutan.
Yeah, we'll call it that. A 3.8 just coming in right now on the Earthquake 3D globe.
I'm sure
Goodness.
we'll be corrected. So
Possibly.
But
Either way,
what? I prefer to be corrected because then we know to pronounce it right next time, right?
Exactly. So over the course of the last 24 hours here, we definitely notice this is where the 3.8 kind of struck there. If you notice on the globe, it's a little choppy there, so my mouse is getting disconnected. But 3.8 coming into the globe here around the Himalayas, kind of over here around this area where Bhutan sits. I'm not 100% certain how to pronounce that, so we'll just leave it at that. But we've seen a pretty good increase in westward pressure movement out here up into portions of Afghanistan, north of the Himalayas, and also outside of the well, actually, this is Pakistan area. Seeing some activity. This is all kicking up throughout the day today. Quite a few fours in there, including some upper fours around eastern Afghanistan. So a big increase in earthquake activity here today. Further west, nothing really showing up here across the map. The EMSC model, though, does continue to show some 2s and 3s across the area of the Mediterranean. It's very typical. It's a major plate boundary. Similar to California, there's always going to be earthquake activity out here, but no major movement out there around the Mediterranean currently. But definitely a noticeable increase in activity around the Himalayas north and to the southeast. Pretty good cluster of earthquakes just around the Philippines region. Quite a few 3s on the map here as well. Down around Indonesia, some 4s and 5s. Looking at here on the map. Pretty broad area of earthquake activity here around the western Pacific. Zooming into the Izu Trench and the Mariana Trench. Little brain freeze there for a second. Seen a little bit of activity earlier this afternoon. Most of these two earthquakes here deep into the trenches itself. This one here, 302 kilometers deep. So we got to watch this zone upstream here for some further activity along that subduction level. Into the Sea of Osk, we got another deep earthquake, 4.1. Early this morning, 390 kilometers deep. And also over here, outside, off the coast of Japan, a 4.3 at 370 kilometers deep. Is that the same one? 390 up here around the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Okay. I misread those, but still, 2 deep earthquakes out there in this area. In fact, this whole region here has seen some deeper earthquake movement over the last 24 hours. The swarming area is kicking up around the southern Philippines. Got to watch that potentially. Deeper movement has a couple different ways to go. The deeper activity ultimately puts strain up here along the locked areas. But if there isn't enough strain or built up slip rate here in this region to produce an earthquake, all that pressure heads to the west. General plate movement map here puts the Philippine plate general plate movement here to the west. Around the Papua New Guinea area, seen a couple earthquakes this morning, a 5.4 and a 4.5. Let's see what we got over here around the Solomon Islands. Not a whole lot popping off here currently. Looking at, looks like a little bit of activity on the EMSC globe. That 5.4 is actually from yesterday. Not a whole lot showing up here on the EMSC model for the New Zealand area. We'll check that out here in just a second. Up into the Alaska region, one earthquake here along the Aleutian Trench. coming in this afternoon, a 4.3, 38 kilometers deep, and very spotty activity as we head up into the Alaska region. Latest earthquake shows a 1.4, very small microquake up there in the area. The Big Island of Hawaii. Further activity, it looks like, here around the Pahala area, and also some movement up around the Kilauea volcano. One earthquake off the coast, 3.8 well off the coast, southwestern coast there of the Big Island, 38 kilometers deep. So something brewing well underneath the oceanic crust out here. Now let's go ahead and we'll check out the Hawaii map here in just a second. West Coast movement, not a whole lot going on through the Pacific Northwest as far as Oregon and the Washington region goes. Most of this activity, fairly microquake in the earthquake department there. Northern California, of course, we had that 5.4 coming in this morning time period, about 10:35, 30 kilometers deep. They did adjust that depth a little bit deeper. Originally came in about 20, I think it was 22 or 27 kilometers deep. So this one occurring much deeper into the southern end of the Cascadia megathrust. This is not associated with any surface fractures out here. Yes, there is some surface faults out here, but this is deep, 30 kilometers into the southern branch of the Cascadia megathrust area. Now, I didn't feel it, but we got a, what do we get, Missy Mimi's?
Well, I got a headache, and then upon saying I had a headache, then my earthquake shake map went off.
What, about a minute later?
Not even, maybe like 30 seconds later.
We had a power outage, some gusty winds this morning, and Missy Mimi's was saying, maybe that's why I have a headache or something. Mm-hmm. And about that time, she got the MyShake
early
warning system app went off on her phone. I got it like a second later, advising us that there's an earthquake incoming to prepare for some shaking. We didn't feel it here outside the Chico area, but it was felt pretty broadly around the Eureka region, and kind of a violent earthquake similar to the 6.4 that struck here about 10 days ago. That uplift, sort of speaking, motion, and that is associated with subduction zone earthquakes. And that's why these violent 9-pointers out here along the Cascadia can create some devastating damage inland, and also the tsunamis, the ultimate tsunami activity following a major quake. So definitely a little scary out there. Some uptick occurring. The best thing to do is be prepared out there for sure. Whether this is all foreshock activity or, just general aftershock activity following the 6.4 a couple weeks ago there, 10 days ago. It will remain to be seen. We'll see. I believe it's firmly associated with the Cascadia increasing activity out here, and I'll show you why right now. Here's the tremor activity, 242 epicenters of tremor. Now, this is activity that occurs along the Cascadia, downstream about 35, 45 kilometers where the tremor activity normally occurs. When this activity occurs, we get ultimate strain and pressure building up at the towards the surface areas. Northern California, no surprise here, right? The very southern end of the Cascadia megathrust, seeing a little bit of activity as well today. Now, that would explain the ultimate earthquake activity happening upstream with that 5.4 this morning time period. So overall, regional seismic activity here in this zone definitely increasing. And again, the best thing to do, definitely not fear-mongering, but you got to be prepared for a mega quake out here. A 6.4 did some damage out there around Eureka, but a 9.0 out here, a full rupture, even a partial rupture would be completely devastating. We're talking about, houses moving off foundations and stuff like that, and worse. So it's best to be prepared. This is the major seismically hazardous zone in the United States. Yes, we have the San Andreas Fault, but that's not going to produce anything compared to what the Cascadia subduction zone will do. And the New Madrid zone, yes, out there in the along a highly populated area, will produce some big earthquakes, but nothing, again, nothing like what the Cascadia will do. So we have to be prepared for that.
Yes, subduction zone quakes are much more deadly in the upper range.
As far as the magnitude,
as far as magnitudes go.
Well, far as magnitude goes, but also the tsunami.
The tsunami, is like really bad. So
2.4 Northern California, just coming in within the last hour, about 19 kilometers deep. Now, I wanted to look at the aftershock following this aftershock activity, right? Because they call this a 5.4 an aftershock from the 6.4 10 days ago. Looks like we've had a couple twos in there, some ones. Nothing major occurring, but activity is still definitely continuing in that region. Nothing showing up currently across the area of the seismograph stations in Northern California. All looks calm and clear for now. But, again, best be prepared out there along the west coast. Cobb Mountain area, seen typical movement. Bay Area is fairly quiet. Got a couple earthquakes around the San Ramon area. Looks like some very small microquake activity, about 10 kilometers deep, just off the Calaveras fault zone here in the... actually, it looks like it may be on the Pleasanton fault, just off the Calaveras fault area. Merced, actually got 2.6 near the Mariposa area, 21 kilometers deep. And a swarm of activity here on the San Andreas fault near Pinnacles once again. This is the creeping segment of the San Andreas fault, the plate boundary. They call it the creeping segment because it tends to creep. pretty explanatory, right? It creeps along. There's not a whole lot of stress that builds up here compared to other areas of the faults where they gain, where it builds up stress, so to speak. Not to say that there can be some large earthquakes up here, but this segment tends to creep along easier, more so than areas down south and up north. So I know it's kind of an odd name, the creeping segment. What does that mean? Over here off the coast, it looks like around the
Simeon fault zone.
Simeon? Mm-hmm. Simeon or Simon?
Simeon, there's an E in there.
Simeon? Oh, man. Who's correct here? Simeon? Watch us both be wrong. All right, a couple twos out there near the San Simeon area. 8.7 kilometers and a 3.1 kilometer deep earthquake. And not a whole lot going on further south here in Southern Cal. Things are a little on the spotty side. Around the Borrego Springs area, we did have a 2.6 coming in within the last couple hours. Look at the 2.5 map and above. That's about it for the SoCal area. But general movement up into Northern California showing some activity for sure. Inward.
Inward.
Why do I keep saying that?
I don't know.
I keep saying the inward. Intermountain West region's pretty quiet. Nothing going on across Yellowstone, but for the heck of it, let's go ahead and see what we got at the Yellowstone supervolcano. Yes, it is a supervolcano. I know a lot of people think that it's just all nature and geysers up there, but man, it's a supervolcano, all right. Not a whole lot going on at all, to be honest. Some network interference up here across a couple of stations, but that's about it. All right, New Madrid zone out east. Looks like one earthquake here around the
Risco, Missouri.
Risco, early this morning, it looks like about 15 kilometers deep. And out there in Texas, Pecos, Texas area, seen some activity this morning and this afternoon time period. And again, that is associated with general plate stress out here along the North American plate out there in the oil fields and very close to these oil fields and wastewater disposal wells. There's a beautiful wastewater. I don't think I want to go swimming in that, but that's, it's out there in those fields, and there's a lot of them, folks. There's a lot. All right, let's see. What else we got? Puerto Rico, a little bit of activity. One earthquake here around the Guatemala region this morning. 4.6, 205 kilometers deep. Well, inward. Why do I keep saying that? Inland. That's the word I'm looking for. Inward, inland, Middle America Trench. Well away from the plate boundary and deep, 205 kilometers. South America activity pretty minimal. It looks like fairly minimal. I got a little bit of activity into the deeper regions of the Peru-Chile Trench near Bolivia, and a little bit further south. Had one earlier this morning as well. 4.9, 113 kilometers deep. South Sandwich Islands area 5.2. That one coming in last year. Well, yesterday. All right, I'm not going to go that route. Okay, it looks like they may have upgraded that 3.8 to a 4.1. The USGS is now showing that earthquake there along the plate boundary there, just outside the Himalaya Mountains in Bhutan. Bhutan?
I think it's Bhutan.
Want to bet $20?
Okay, well,
all right,
$20. Whoever gets it right.
Well, yeah.
Whoever corrects us to the right word.
So they get $20?
No.
Okay, all right. Don't confuse them now.
I get $20.
Bhutan or Bhutan?
Help me out, guys.
Yeah, goodness. All righty, $20 on the table for the correct pronunciation there. So we could look it up on Google, but we're good. All right, so let's see here what we got. I want to check out New Zealand here as we're on the earthquake subject here from the GeoNet servers and see what we have here. That looks like they're up and running. 8 hours ago, 3.1, 3.4 yesterday. Now the all magnitudes event map here. Not a whole lot going on, just some 2s and some very small microquakes out there. New Zealand's been quiet today. Not tsunami. We don't want to bring up tsunamis out there around New Zealand. Not be good. A look at the volcanic drums. Pretty, fairly quiet. Let me see here. Is this the most recent activity here? Are these updated maps? It looks like it there with the UTC time of 1/2/2023. I can't believe it's 2023 already.
I know.
That is unbelievable.
Last year went by fast.
It did. It did. Those long, hot summers here in California, it just makes me not want to do anything except for sit in the pool and relax a little bit. So hopefully it's not going to be as hot this year.
It's actually beautiful looking right there.
What's
all
that?
Those pretty sunspots.
Yeah, beautiful sunspots out there. The dynamics of them. It's getting pretty active. Fairly active, I should say. 60 is the magic number here for a large coronal hole that is facing Earth, and that is spewing out quite a bit of charged particles in our direction. That will be here in a couple days, and that will advance the 3-day geomagnetic forecast in the department here. Looks like a G1 class storm forecasted, I should say, around the January 4th time frame from that coronal hole. Now the sunspot activity, 3180 is a massive sunspot, and I've been watching that ever since it came over on the northeastern side of the limb here of the sun. It's getting dynamic, and there's a lot of different structures here with the magnetic polarity of the fields there. Watching that one pretty closely. Also, 3177's gaining a little bit of strength with the different sections here. But not so much as 3180. So we'll watch this one here mostly for some flares. 3179 looks fairly promising as well, but that is departing the visible disk here on the Earth side. Currently 90% chance for a C flare, 35% chance for an M flare, X flare around 5. And let's see here. We haven't really seen anything uptick here in the solar flare chart. Things are actually below the sea level threshold currently, but that could change looking at those sunspots. Definitely keep an eye on a couple of those out there as we progress. A visible look here at the predicted solar sunspot activity shows us here. This is going to be the prediction on the red line from the space weather prediction folks. We are way above that. This is the sunspot numbers here, 113, and we're well above that current prediction. And this should spike continuously as we head into solar maximum about 2025 summertime. So we got a couple more years, and there's no doubt going to be many solar flares, and potentially that one that could cause us some issues here on Earth. We've been pretty fortunate enough to avoid any damaging space weather activity as far as the grid goes, and the GPS systems. There's so much space junk up there right now. It's who knows. I would not want a major catastrophic event to happen. We'd be seeing those things fall out of the sky left and right. So, but that's something something we have to watch for. What else you got here, Missy Mimi's?
How's the Hawaii volcanoes looking?
Just gonna check that here. Let's see what we got for Kilauea volcano. We'll zoom in here just a little bit and we'll check it out. Kilauea volcano. Well, we can check out Mauna Loa and see what's going on here. And everything's pretty much about the same. There hasn't been any major changes there at Mauna Loa. The seismograph stations are still offline, apparently. The latest activity here over the past 12 hours shows minimal activity around Mauna Loa. It looks like there was some earthquake there yesterday. That looks like a larger one, but probably from the Pahala area. Tilt meter around Kilauea volcano still spotty. That's the one I've been kind of watching lately. This is the activity here around Kilauea volcano, still showing that odd earthquake activity or magma movement. This kind of looks like magma movement occurring underneath the surface. This is what you see when stuff is moving underground. Earthquakes are going to be, obviously we know what earthquakes are, right? In the well-defined spiky areas, but there's definitely, and that signature there shows up across many different stations. Now let me just show you here real quick. That one's offline. I'm starting to pull a whole bunch of these offline here. There it is again. Some of that drawn out activity, it's about the same as the other seismograph station I showed you. Is this one working? Yeah, this one's working too. So there's something going on underneath the crater area of Kilauea volcano that's making a little bit of noise, and I'm still uncertain as to what, if it's going to play any part in a future eruption here soon, or if it's just going to build up, and who knows? It may be a year or so before it erupts again. The past 2 days of activity. This is the tilt meter monitoring station around Kilauea volcano. 2 days decline in activity. It looks like now the past. Oh, where'd that go? Was it this one? There we go. The past. What is this here? The past week? Past month?
Yeah,
looks like the past month here. Still showing continual gradual tilt towards the upstream uplift here. Now the halting of the volcano, as far as the eruption goes, occurred right around the 9th or 10th time frame, right about here. But we get these gradual increases here. There's a definitely uptrend of the tilt meter there. So something's definitely brewing. I don't know if that's the right word to mention. What's going on there? How many times do I have to click it? Something's going. What's going on here? Goodness. All right. Well, yeah. So we'll obviously continue to watch this, folks, and see how it plays out. Something's going on. Negative energy coming off here. What else we got, folks? Anything else going on out here? No major buoy activity going on. Nothing in event mode. Well, there actually got one out here. You were quick to spot that. Out there in this, that kind of looks a little dangerous, doesn't it?
Jeez. Right? It's a little odd.
Sharp decline there.
I immediately seen that moving. I
know, I seen that. That's just it looks like it's just some type of error occurring, just a little dip. It could be a seagull, maybe a pigeon out there dancing, jumping up and down the buoy. Who knows?
It could be weather related.
Definitely. Well, look at the meters here. It's just we're talking about very slight trend towards the looks like a dip, so to speak, and that for some reason put it in event mode. I don't know why, but there it is out there. I think it looks like a beautiful spot to rest if you are out there swimming across the ocean, or just a bird in the sky. Probably want to take a break there, right?
Right. Could be a whale.
A whale would probably do way more damage to that.
Could have bumped it.
Yeah.
Sea life.
Good possibility. All right. What else is there? What else do we have? What else? What else?
We can check earthquakes, make sure there's nothing big or random popping in.
Anything right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got live seismos for that, and it looks pretty calm here.
Yeah.
Yellowstone, little spike kicking up, but the rest of the seismographs look pretty quiet for now.
Mm-hmm.
So deeper activity, obviously against the trenches. We'll watch the surface areas here for some further large-scale activity. We've been seeing a little bit of deeper movement here, more so than surface quaking, and that could be a sign of some impending larger quakes up there around the subduction levels where the strain builds up. But if there's not enough, then watch these areas here to the west of the plates. All right, folks, and we're going to bounce out of here. Have a good night. Again, Happy New Year to everyone out there. And, that's about all I got here.
All right, guys. Yes, Happy New Year. Enjoy it for sure. Stay safe out there. Always have a plan, especially if you live along the West Coast or in earthquake country. Should always have a plan. And along the Pacific Northwest especially. So just stay safe out there.
Alrighty, guys. We'll catch you sometime back here tomorrow. Have a good one.
Have a good night, guys.